Hello, everyone, and good evening. So, welcome. So, if you've had any glitches like we have with tech today, it's quite normal at times. It does happen. And I'm glad that you are here to share with you this particular Wednesday of pause and thought. Today's pause and thought is really about how we can have the time to just stop and reflect when there's a world out there. So many things are happening. And we know that during this time that when things are happening, how much attention do we pay to that? But really, how much attention do we need to pay to us rather than what's happening too much in the world? Not everybody can cope with what's going on in the outside world because sometimes when we have heightened things, sensitivity seems to also raise within us. When that sensitivity raises within us, we struggle to cope with the outside world. So I wanted to share this with you today because I know I can be hypersensitive, and I know there's lots of other people. I know males and females who can be hypersensitive to things happening around them. But what we want to do is we want to minimize that as much as possible. Sometimes when we get hypersensitive, we need to just pause. We just need to stop and we just need to think and bring that thought to us rather than what's happening on the outside world. And I can understand for some people it's not always possible, but if I could share that taking time out to pause and to think really would be in your favor. So, how are we doing today? How are we on this day? So, if you don't know anything about me, my name is Parveen Smith, and I am a 10 times global awardee. And I've been helping people for 20 years plus, helping people to be healthy and well. And as you join us here, give us a thumbs up, give us a like as well, because we do like that. You can even leave us a comment on any of the subject matters that we are sharing with you. So, today I'm talking about pause and thought because the world is experiencing so many things. But if we go too much into the world itself, we may struggle if we're hypersensitive. And hypersensitivity can happen to a lot of people where we feel the slightest thing can make us jump, the noises can trigger us. Anything that anybody says, we take it to heart too much sometimes. But that's just hypersensitivity. I say just, it's not always just because I do know it can affect a lot of people. Now, I have just come back from Paris, and whilst I was in Paris, I was a speaker out there, met some lovely people, but I could also see the hypersensitivity in people as well. And I could hear people saying how much we need to look after our body systems. And I could hear that very clearly. And as you know, my story is all about looking after us in many ways, four ways, not just one way. And as we can understand that emotionally things can affect us, mentally things can affect us, and physically things can affect us as well. So we need to look after us from a deep soul level. And I know for a fact that whatever is happening out there in the big wide world, and we're hearing things on the news or we hear it from people that can happen, we don't want to block the news off altogether, because what if we really need to listen to something and we shut the news off altogether and something was really happening big out there? We wouldn't know it was happening, would we? So we want to keep, almost like I would say, one ear in and one ear out, or one eye in and one eye out, to know what's happening around the world. We don't want to be too consumed, of course, because when we get consumed, the hypersensitivity hits us here, hypersensitivity hits us here, and we become overwhelmed with things that are happening around us and in the world around us. We may also feel that our family members can be too much for us, and they may be helping us out when we're hypersensitive, but it can also mean that they are really, trying to help us, but we find it too much to cope with because we are on that hypo level of the sensitivity of what we're feeling around us and the world around us. So, how are you feeling today? How are you doing today? Is my question. Have you been having time for a pause? Last week might have been busy for me for sure, but was it busy for you? Did you do well? Thumbs up. Thank you so much for liking. And if you want to send us a chat, the chat box is actually open and hopefully I can access that. I did have a few technical difficulties a little earlier trying to get onto this platform, but that's okay because I'm not the only one who has technical difficulties. Who doesn't? We are living in this era of 2025 and technology is moving so fast, and we have got to try and keep up with it as much as possible. Would you agree with me? Give me a nod and give me a thumbs up if that's true. And if you're like me, I'm quite old-fashioned in my way of thinking, and I do pause and reflect about some of the things that I do. For example, I've still got a diary, a physical diary, but I've always had a physical diary. I've had a physical diary since I was a little girl, and I've been writing in my diary for decades. So if you can understand that for me is the way I like to operate. Whereas we know that the digital world is really, really fast, and we can have definitely technical difficulties going on when we're not fully caught up with it. And that's the things that I think about. I paused and I thought, here's my diary, and I'm still using it like I was when I was 12 years old. But there's nothing wrong with that. If you like diaries and if you like journaling, it's good for the brain. It's good for you to sort of pause and think about what's happened in the day and what thoughts do you need to be writing down into that diary or journaling, which could really help you. And I've also recognized when I pause and think about things, as today's about pause and thought, is that a lot of people are forgetting to use something so simple as this, a pencil or a pen, because we are so digital, we're on our phones and we're digital on the computer, that we're actually forgetting to use a pencil or a pen. And guess what? When I realized that when people who aren't using pencils and pens, their writing isn't that great. But if we are using our physical motor skills, we are actually using our body system, but we're also using our fine motor skills as well to look at using a pen and paper. We're keeping on track of our writing skills, how we formulate alphabet and words and sentences and paragraphs. For me, call me old-fashioned, but I do like to use a pen and paper or a pencil and paper because I don't want to lose something that I learned decades ago. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think using a pen and paper is a good thing. So when my clients come to me and I want them to pause and reflect, like I will have clients, and I've got somebody coming tomorrow, and he brings his notebook and he's ready to write. And he has the most amazing pen, and his handwriting is very clear. I can read it, by the way, and I can see that we may be old school in some ways, but sometimes we don't want to lose the greatest skills that we have. So using a pen and paper is a great skill to have. Just like somebody might be sitting over there doing their knitting, or someone sitting over there doing their crochet, or someone over there has got a paintbrush and they're painting. Is still a skill. And I know how much I like using certain skills. I was speaking to somebody today from America, and I was just saying something like, she said, I'll call you back in 20 minutes. And I said, I'm just going to go and do some live Zooms and live YouTube. And she said, okay. And I said to her, I'm just going to go make some soup. And sometimes it's just the simplest things that we can enjoy. We don't have to make everything so complicated. We can keep it so simple and enjoy the simple things in life. It's only when we, again, the thought is pause and we think about who we are and where we're at and even where we want to be, because that's part of the work that I do when I mentor and I coach people. Where do you want to really be? But sometimes, like now, like today, you're here and I appreciate you being here, and please pass on the word of this live YouTubes that we do from Soul to Soul Wellbeing, because we are trying to help humanity here. We're trying to help people in societies to understand that when life gets too much, there are ways that we can stop and think about what we are doing. Even that 2-minute break, even in your lunch hour, or 2-minute break when you're sitting at the computer in your office and you're thinking, oh, I've got so much work to do. Just take that 2 minutes out. Go and make a cup of tea. Go and walk out. Pause. Go out of the office or go out of your space and go and get something. Then come back. And as you're coming back into your space, you probably have new thoughts coming in as well. So I love the fact that we can use our brain, to the capacity that we can, but we also need to look at pausing that brain so that we can have a break. And for the work that I do, I know that I'm a hands-on person where I'm working with people's body systems and resetting their bodies, even online. I can reset anybody's body just quite like that. But I also know that I can help to bring calm and peace in 2 minutes, in 1 minute even. And we can change something that's happening in that person's body system really quite quickly. So when I paused and thought, you're probably thinking, but what do you do, Parveen? How do you work? And I had a lady called Karen who called me today, and she said, Parveen, can you make it a bit clearer about what you do? Okay, so let me share this with you. Let's give you a pause and a thought of things that I do. So what we do here is we book an appointment. We get online. If you're not local to me, we get online with you and we look at what needs changing in you. So if you came to me and said, Parveen, I'm feeling a little bit stuck at the moment. Can you help me? I just feel stuck in my career or feel stuck in life generally. So then you would have your sessions with me. We don't usually do the one-off sessions. We usually do them in a set of 4 so that we can get the change in you quite quickly. Now, what happens here is I would work with you as you sit back into your chair just there and you just close your eyes. And I would start resetting your body system to alter and change things that are happening in your body so that you can have a happier, fulfilling life. And we can get you out of that stuck mode really quite quickly. Yeah. Sometimes people think, but how? How does this really, 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 really work? Now, I have a formula. And with this formula, which is something that only I have, unless I train practitioners to use this with their people, usually we would use this particular formula, and it's like the golden key, I always call it. And the golden key has been given to me, and we reset your body systems with it. It is a formula that we use in a certain way so that we can reset your body system so that you can function better in the day-to-day experiences that we may have. In the day-to-day life we may experience, as I talked about earlier, the outside world affects us. We can't say it doesn't. Scientifically, it will affect us emotionally, mentally, but also physically. So we've got to look at this because you have something called the electromagnetic field, okay? And this electromagnetic field is like frequency of like energy around your auric field like this, and it goes out. And maybe you can see mine in the screen right now because I can see mine as a reflection as I'm looking at you right now, and I can see a band of color, and that is my auric field. And that band of color is what is either good for me or bad for me or trying to keep me in balance. So the electromagnetic field which is around us can be affected by the outside world. The outside world, whether we think of it as the disasters that are happening, the things that are happening in the world, whether it's financial, whether it's, I don't know, we can call it all sorts of things that are happening out in the world, natural disasters, war zones, whatever, that is making an impact on us. And do you know why that's making an impact on us? Pause and thought. Pause for thought. Everything out there is moving. Would you say? Everything out there is moving. So we've got frequencies of energy moving everywhere. We've got the trees. I can see the tree out of my window. It's moving. It's alive. It's energetic. It's energy. So when things outside are moving, and I'm talking about plants at the moment, and the natural wildlife. Imagine now there's lots of this still invisible to the invisible eye. There's still a frequency and energy out there that can affect us. And whatever's happening on the outside world, which is, it could be a natural disaster, it could be a war, it could be something that we're thinking, oh my God, why has that happened? And we know there's things happening every single day. And innocently, people are getting hurt. We don't like to hear that, really, as human beings. And when people get hurt, for example, whether it be this, that, or the other, we feel that because everything outside of this window still is energy. And in fact, everything around here, around me, is all energy. And if you can see a band around me, my body shape, you may be able to, depends if you can or not. If you're sensitive, you will be able to. That is energy. So my auric field should be glowing. Now, it can glow in many different frequencies and colors. But what happens here is I want to keep this electromagnetic field as healthy as possible. I want to keep it as healthy as possible because I am alive, I'm healthy and living. And if I don't keep myself healthy and well, my emotional and mental states would go lower. And when that goes lower, that will affect my physical being, my body, which I don't want it to do that. So if you can just imagine what I do with people when they feel out of sync or out of balance, they come to me and I reset their body system with the golden key formula that I have, that I talk about often. Over the last week, I've talked about it a lot in my conference speaking. And I would love people to feel healthier, because you know what? We don't need to feel unwell. We don't need to carry the burdens of the world. We don't need to carry the emotional and the mental disturbances. We just don't need to have it. But when I say need, we can make a choice, you know? We can protect ourselves to a certain level. And even though the outside world is happening, we can still protect ourselves to a certain level. The more we protect ourselves, guess what? The more happier and joyful we feel. The more happy and joyful we feel, we know we can achieve more in life. So if you can just imagine, if that tree is moving right now, it's alive, yeah? There's energy outside, there's frequencies of energy, and scientifically it's there. In the room that we are in, there's all energy all around me. And I am made of energy. And how are you feeling? Because you are also made of energy. Do you feel happy at this moment? Do you feel sad at this moment? Do you feel stressed at this moment? Do you feel angry? What sort of emotions are you feeling at this moment? Because my job and the practitioners that I train, we are here to elevate you so that you can feel amazing. Imagine me working with you, how much potential we could tap into in you to make you feel happier, greater, healthier, elevate you, and if you're running a business, get you to a level where you should be at, and more and more. I can tell you now, everything happens for a reason. If you're a believer of that, give me a thumbs up if you haven't liked the page yet. If you haven't liked, a comment if you'd like, and I'll catch up with those comments later. But I can share with you that the more happier you are, guess what? The more the world's going to give you. And I'm always talking about certain different things and how things are actually in my path for a reason. So when people come to work with me, I know why, because I'm here to transform their lives for the better. So what do? I mentor a coach. We reset your body systems to elevate you to be the best you possibly can be. This isn't about me. This is about your life. This is about your journey. And this is about where you want to go. Whoops. Pause. Think. What do I want? What do I want? Ask yourself that question. And each week I'll give you something to think about and write about and to delve into. So when we're thinking about the world around us, what is it that you want? What do you want? And each week, something that I say may trigger something in you, but that's a good thing because we want to keep moving on. See this chair I'm sitting in right now? Imagine I'm just sitting here like this and I just didn't move. Wow, that would be so boring. I would be so stagnant. I wouldn't be healthy. My muscles wouldn't be moving. I'd be putting on weight, for example, or I might be losing weight. It depends on what I'm eating as well. And guess what? It's a stuck space. We don't want to be stuck. We just don't want to be stuck. I was there once upon a time. I was stuck for a long time. I was stuck for 7 years. 7 years is a long time. 2 years is too long. Nowadays, 1 year is too long. Imagine yourself, or the space that I was in, I was disabled. And I've lost 7 years of my life, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to be there. You literally do not want to be there. So what my job now is, when you ask what I do, my job is to get you out of stuck spaces, get you healthy and well, so you can flourish in your life, you can be with your loved ones, you can go to work and earn your money, and then also you can live a happy, healthy, abundant life. It's all about longevity of life. See, in this one time frame I'm just sharing with you, how many things would you benefit from for working with us, me, or my people who I've trained, my practitioners? Imagine what you would get out of life. You would be awed. And on the weekend, I am teaching the formula, the golden key, which unlocks your potential, not just emotionally, mentally, physically, deep on a soul level, but also for the things that you want on the outside space. Who doesn't want that? And it's worth every pound and penny, I can tell you. If I had this in my teens, when I was growing up, 18, 19, 20, especially around that space when I was going through horrendous trauma, I would have paid absolutely anything for it. to get myself into a better space. And what I've also realized when I think about pause and thought, how long was I on medication for? And how many of you are on prescriptive medication? And especially if it's antidepressants and things like that, because really there is something that can help you with that. Sometimes people take herbal medication, sometimes people have therapy, and sometimes people have our formula. And I had a lady who came to me so traumatized, clinically depressed, clinically traumatized. And within 4 sessions, within less than 4 sessions, one session we made a massive change. Second session, it was wow. And we just kept working on her, working on her. Fourth session, she loved it so much she didn't want to leave. But I know that day we made an impact for the 4 sessions alone. And when people want to come back to us, we'll give the next 4 sessions, the next 4 sessions. So it depends literally what is going on in your life and how we can help you to shine and to be bright and be happy and to live a long, healthy life like I am living. You see, this isn't no accident. I'm sharing this with you. I'm sharing this with you because it may well be you need something that we offer, which is the golden key formula for the 2-day training program, for example, or it may be actually, Parveen, I just want to come and see you on Zoom. Help me. And we will reset you. We'll give you the guidance and the coaching and the mentoring that you need to help you excel. The biggest thing is excel in life, not stay stuck in this chair, not to stay stagnant in this chair. It's all about keeping you moving forwards for you, your life, and your journey. So now, pause and thought. I'm going to grab something here. Okay, so this is my book, Transformative Path, #1 bestseller it's been on Amazon, and in different categories. I've got to say more than one category, 4 categories actually. So what I wanted to share with you here is there's a gentleman who I spoke to today, and I think he was from the Netherlands, I want to say. Anyway, and he got the book on Amazon, and he was so intrigued. In fact, do you know what happened? He couldn't put the book down. He was reading it until past midnight hours. And he had already said, I need to get up at 5 o'clock. I need to get my work started. But guess what? Once he started reading the book, like I always say to people, it's very difficult to put down. Any of my books are the same. So he said he kept reading. And I'll tell you where he got up to today. And he said he found it very interesting. And he said it was very good. And he got up to this stage. Step 3. Let's look at this. Types of people. So I'm going to share something with you because I was a little bit late starting, so let me carry on a little bit longer. Let me give you more value here. Step 3 is types of people. Empathic and non-empathic people. And that's the subject matter really today, is that sometimes we can be too sensitive. That's how I started off today. Now, I wanted to share some thoughts with you about empathic and non-empathic people. I think it's important to understand how we feel on our own journey of empowerment. I will start with empathic people. So there is a list in the book, actually, there's a couple of lists in here, just in this chapter, and you can connect with either, whether it is the empathic people or the non-empathic people. The lists are here. We are all unique beings, and we are human beings. I'd like to think that anyway. And you may see this list and see what suits you in the book. And this will allow you to reflect. This is what we're doing, pause and thought. Reflect on some aspects of your character and your traits. And I know we all have characters and traits. Even I do. Even though I'm teaching what I teach, and I know what my traits are, and I know what my characteristics are like, and this will help you. Now, if you are in a workplace and you're working in an office and you've got teams around you, you may well look at this and think, okay, so this is why I've struggled with that person. Okay, you see the light bulb moments? They come in, and we just don't know what's going to happen in the time frame when we are around people, and that's why we need to have pause and thought. I'd like to share before I go something with you, a quote from Barack Obama, and it goes like this. Learning to stand in somebody else's shoes, to see through their eyes, that's how peace begins. And it's up to you to make that happen. Empathy is a quality of character that can change the world. Now, if you can just think about this, Pause and thought is our subject matter today. And the gentleman who contacted me from the Netherlands, he was talking very similarly. See how beautifully and synchronistically this is all just fitting in together for today's live. And when Barack Obama says that, when we see all the things that are happening in the world, all these wars and things like that, we just don't want it to happen anymore. And this is why I say we are on a path. You are on a path. Take the transformative path that's going to take you from the darkness to the light. And if I can just show you here, as I said in the conference just in Paris just the other day, we look at this and we look at this dry, arid land here in this image, and there's one shoot growing. And as this one shoot is growing, it's not going to grow so easily, in fact. But thank goodness there's sunlight and there will be some rain, which will help it to grow and flourish into the beautiful shoot it needs to be amongst all the things where there's dryness, where there's nothing. And maybe sometimes we can relate to this because sometimes we may feel, especially if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, that I feel all alone. It may well be actually a person sitting in their home watching this right now may think, oh my goodness, that's how I feel. Sometimes as if I'm growing, but I'm on my own. Where is my support? And this is why it's important that we look for mentorship, coaching, support systems that will help us. And that's exactly what we do at Soul to Soul Wellbeing. We hold your hand, we will nurture you from this place to this place because we want you to grow. We want you to be empowered. We want you to be the best you possibly can be. So imagine that ray of sunlight now coming onto your body, and you are this shoot right now, and you're being nurtured, and you're being held, and you're comforted, and you really, really are looked after. This is your growth. And that's why I wanted to share that quote from the book that I've got in my book, which is what Barack Obama is saying. Just step into somebody else's shoes and look through their eyes. Just look through their eyes and see what could be really happening for them. Because we never know what one person is going through to the next person, which I experienced also whilst I was in Paris. So I'll just share one more thing before I go. So I look after people through the mind, the body system, and deeply on emotions, but trauma. I look after people to see how they feel deep in them because, we all have a heart and soul. Otherwise, you won't be alive. You wouldn't be here with me right now. We all have a heart and soul. And it's about nurturing that for growth to help each individual person to be the best they can be. And I did something specific on one of the days whilst I was in Paris when a mood drops, as I've talked about today, and we become highly empathic or sensitive, and we feel a little bit on edge, for example. It was time for me to take the microphone, and it was time for me to do a beautiful meditation, and it's ancient wisdom. So within my work, even though I work with professionals, CEOs, entrepreneurs, coaches, and people who want my services, there's something really deep within me that I know what it is. And some of my people who have been in my groups for 2 decades almost know exactly who and what is happening and who I am. I can tell you now that ancient wisdom is far beyond me. The ancient wisdom comes through my wisdom of my ancestors, of my heritage, I'm going to say. And that's what I love to share. And that's what I shared on stage in Paris to change the frequency of something that was happening. And when we change the frequency, we know that we will be elevated, like a lot of people did say, they felt better. And so that's another part of me when I share meditations with people and how we come from one space and how we can change that to being here to the next space. Well, I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you've enjoyed this time here with me. And if you haven't liked, please do like this, please do share, and please do let your family and friends know. This doesn't cost you anything. I'm here to spend time with you, to share some nuggets, some gems of wisdom, to help you to understand certain things in life, to give you aha moments, the light bulb moments. And it's about taking on board what you will. So I asked you earlier, what is it when you pause and you think, pause and thought, in between that time, that reflective moment, what is it that you really want? When we see the world is around us and it's doing its own thing, what is it that you want? And I want you to write down, ready for next week. And I might even just prick your minds and ears on this and think, okay. So do look at keeping that journal with me each week and just note it down. Each week I ask you a question. Each week I might give you a task. And this is what this is about. So if you haven't got my book, Transformative Path, it is a workbook actually. It takes you through so many different things that you could look at doing, even the final thoughts. And I can just really share with you. I realize I want more out of life. And as I have been on this journey for now 24 years, more intensely, I can say, I really want more out of life. I want to be here. I want to be alive. I want to make an impact. I want to help you. And I want to help society. And I want to help humanity. And I'm going to do it the best way I possibly can from my heart. So this is a mission. And I'm here to share that with you. If you've enjoyed what I've spoken about today, please leave some messages. Please share with your family and friends. Somebody might need to hear this right now. And they're the sort of messages I do get later on. I'm also going to say, if you want to work with me, please do contact me on soul2soulwellbeing.com or soul2soulwellbeing@outlook.com. And I will be there to answer your messages and hold your hand and take you on a beautiful journey. If I can do it for me, guess what? I came out of the depths of despair many times, not just once, 30 times. And I've done it, and I've helped many people, and I know I can help you too. Namaste. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for your time with me here today. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, same time. I have also got next Wednesday a beautiful class I'm going to say, and it's a 1 hour power hour mastermind before this live next Wednesday. If you don't know what it is, send me a message. I'll explain what it's about. It's a paid event and it's here to elevate you and your life. Thank you so much and take care for now. Bye-bye.